So we got the patch notes for the Black Panther and Shuri update, and we got a surprise tier 3 Carbonadium in the house. That is, what's his name? Omega Red. Omega Red. Now this is going to be a rolling update, so it's going to start at 8 p.m. Pacific tonight. So in about 12 hours, for those of you, well, no, not 12 hours, in about 15 hours. Anyways, from when I'm recording this video, for what it's worth, about 14 hours after my video goes live, and it'll be like on a rolling patch. So you'll just close down the game, you'll open it up, and you can download the patch. It's usually a little bit early. So 8 p.m. Pacific means 11 p.m. Eastern, but it's usually a little bit earlier than that. It's usually like 10:30 p.m. So we will be live here on Twitch. Or sorry, not Twitch. Holy. We'll be live here on YouTube. I'm not going to edit any of this out. Fuck it. We're going to be live here on YouTube for this update. So let's check it out. We're getting a brand new uniform and a tier 4 for Black Panther. So that's pretty cool. He gets 20% chain hit. He gets a juicy 50% all defense. He gets some changes to his ult, which I don't really see being all that impactful, but whatever. 50% guaranteed crit rate, which is very high. That's like Wolverine levels of high. So he's going to be critting out the wazoo. He's going to be critting all the time. Only 15% damage reduction, and then he's got a skill damage, bonus damage, whatever. He gets a 15% increase to his crit damage, and then he gets a chance. He gets basically a guarantee to increase his crit damage by another 20% on crits. Now, it's unclear whether this is like an infinite stack or whether this just stacks once, so then his max would be 220 instead of 200. But still, that's pretty nice when you pair it with the fact that he's basically going to be critting on every other attack or more, right? Or more often. So that's quite nice. Now, as far as the theory that he was going to replace Moon Knight for ABX and ABL, he has paralysis on his first skill. He has paralysis on his second skill. He has burn on his third skill. And then he has silence on his fourth skill. So he has all three of the ABX abilities: burn, silence, and paralysis. But he has 0 of the ABL abilities. So no shock, no snare, and no fracture. They definitely could have given him at least one of those. So as it stands right now, I'm a little bit iffy about this whole replacing Moon Knight thing, but we'll just have to wait and see. He does have accumulation, which is very nice. The crit rate is very, like, obviously the crit rate pairs so well with the CTP of Rage because the Rage proc activates when you crit. And one of the issues with some of the ABX characters and ABL characters is that they don't have guaranteed crit, so it's harder for them to crit. Like, even Luna sometimes doesn't trigger her Rage, even with how many hits she has, because she doesn't have any guaranteed crit rate. And then he also has a Frenzy buff on his 5th skill with a 20% heal, and then he has another 50% buff. So there's a lot of buffs on his skills, but no damage proc buff to pass. And then, like Moon Knight has on his 3rd skill, and no ABL effects. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Shuri, on the other hand, a little bit more disappointing here. I think a lot of people are disappointed about Shuri. We'll have to wait and see how high her damage is. Maybe she's going to be insane for a tier 3 level 70, but she remains a speed type. So that's definitely not what people were hoping for. Additionally, spoiler alert here, they didn't really change anything with her kit. Her kit feels very much like a Synergy uniform, very, very similar buff-wise to her. They called it like the pajama uniform, or like the street clothes uniform that she got with the last last year's update for Wakanda Forever. Now, looking at her skills, she does have a lot of ABX ABL skills. So she has silence, she has paralysis, she has fracture. So there's a possibility, I know this is not what everybody likes to hear, but there's the possibility that she's sort of like a budget option for players. And it may be possible that she outscores almost every other speed female at tier 3. Obviously not tier 4 Luna, that sort of thing. We'll have to wait and see. I have no idea. But yeah, not too exciting right now from what we can read. And in general, having her compete with other speed types doesn't really make sense. It would have been much easier to justify this uniform if she stayed combat, or if she changed to combat rather than staying speed. And all the other Black Panthers are combat, so it would have made sense there. But yeah, 40% all defense, skill damage, bonus damage, whatever. Her leadership now, this is the only thing that changes for Shuri. Most of the uniform appears to be a copy paste, except the leadership now, instead of just all speed or whatever it was, it increases all speed type allies attack by 35%. Sorry, I'm trying to hold back a yawn while I'm talking, so my voice is like fluttering and shit. So basically what this does is it essentially positions her as a better alternative, a stronger version of Wave. Wave has a 25% attack lead for all allies, and then Wave has some buffs to damage versus villains and reduction. Obviously, Shuri's reduction and damage increase for villains is way better than Wave's. It's a 55-40, so increases damage by 55% to villains and decreases incoming damage by 40. But then you stack that with the speed type allies getting 35% basic attack. And so now Shuri, specifically for ABX and ABL days, where you otherwise would have used Wave lead, right? You now use Shuri lead. However, the joke here is that for some players, Wave lead is not even that good for Luna, because the 60% increase to cold damage that Misty Knight provides is actually better than Wave, and sometimes better than Nick Fury. So there's a possibility here that the devs just don't play their own game and they didn't know that already. And so this actually won't have any impact whatsoever for players that were already using Misty. However, for players that weren't using Misty Knight for whatever reason, yeah, Shuri's going to be an obvious upgrade over Wave. But right now, it's hard to see what she's going to be besides an upgrade over Wave. Like 15% chain hit, 35% ignore dodge, whatever is nice. No accumulation. She's got a damage proc, and she's got the frenzy buff. But it's just hard to have Shuri compete with other speed female heroes. We've gotten so many lately. Like, is Shuri going to compete with Spider-Gwen? Unlikely. Is Shuri going to compete with Shadow Shell? Maybe. Is Shuri going to compete with Luna? I highly doubt it. So, yeah, I think the devs missed out here. They should have either converted her to PvP, which would have been cool by giving her, like, iframe ignore and whatever, or they should have converted her to a combat. I think they missed out here. But hey, it is what it is. I'm glad that we got the look for her at least. So now that it's in, so now it's in the game. I do appreciate that. Now Black Panther's tier 4 here smells a lot like Moon Knight's. So you take that and do whatever you want with that information. When he uses the tier 4 ability, he gets a flat 40% attack buff and he gets a 45% heal immediately. And then for the next 10 seconds, when he crits, and that's why he's at 50% guaranteed crit rate, he's going to then increase his attack by 20%. That stacks up to 80. So then in total, he can have 120% attack. If he crits 4 times, and then that 80% gets added to the 40, it's 120% attack. 120% attack, I'm pretty sure, is what Moon Knight's tier 4 ability maxes out at, and it also provides healing, although I think Moon Knight provides a smaller tick over and over, whereas this is just a one chunk of 45%. 45% is not bad as a chunk, especially considering, depending on how fast his tier 4 skill charges. But yeah, it's all right. It's kind of lazy. I hate the ones that just increase their attack. Then big surprise here, Omega Red is getting his tier 3. So we didn't have to wait long at all. Just 2 weeks from the character's drop to getting a tier 3. This is fantastic. So I will be tier 3ing him ASAP. You need 10 combat books. So get to farming, boys. There's his tier 3 animation. Looks pretty good as far as the buffs and stuff goes, but it's whatever. We'll have to just see how strong it makes him and how strong he is compared to everybody else. Tentacle Thrash. So that's pretty nice. And then we got the new artifacts here. So artifact, I should say. So Black Panther gets a new artifact. I'm not really that excited about it. It increases his instinct crit rate by 16% and his instinct crit damage by 20. This is the same artifact I believe Thanos has, or maybe not Thanos. Maybe it's Sharon Rogers. I believe it's the same artifact that Sharon Rogers has, or Thanos. Honestly, I can't remember. However, neither one of those characters, on the plus side, neither one of those characters has guaranteed crit rate or has the ability to push their crit damage over the cap. So it's possible that this has better and more noticeable synergy than it does with those characters that have it currently, who don't have, you know, any way of scaling or like increasing the frequency of crits or scaling their crit damage above the cap. So that's not a bad artifact, but I'm also not like jumping for joy. Some people think this artifact is kind of lame, so they're thinking it's going to be the one in the vault, given away for free in the vault. We'll have to wait and see. Who knows? And then some game error fixes. They're going to change some of the text on the CTP of Conquest. Nothing on buffing Kang. Nothing on the frequent crashes in game, and nothing on whatever's going on with my voice constantly interrupting me while I'm trying to talk. So yeah, a small patch for sure, but also one that has a lot of things we've been waiting for. A buff for Black Panther, obviously the Omega Red treatment, and then the Black Panther uniform for Shuri. I think they just kind of dropped the ball with Shuri, but we'll have to wait and see. At the very least, you get an increased leadership, but for a lot of people, that's certainly not worth 1,000 crystals. So it may just be the Black Panther and Omega Red show. But hey, we'll find out tonight on YouTube. Anyways, thank you so much for watching the patch note breakdown. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.